Peacemaker Season 2 might have a narrative apparatus that could connect the DCU with the DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Peacemaker Season 2 has revealed that there is likely going to be a second version of the character running around in the story. Fans have speculated that the character might find himself jumping dimensions, or at least visiting pocket dimensions as a part of his story. This could actually lead him to enter the new and improved DCU, or perhaps he exists in the latter already and is going to enter the DCU instead. Peacemaker Season 2 is right around the corner, being one of the few projects that got carried over from the DCU to the DCU. The first and likely only legacy project from Zack Snyder's iteration of the DC Universe, fans have already begun speculation about how the series could bridge the two universes. A theory has risen thanks to the trailer footage that has been released, which shows Peacemaker facing off with what looks like a doppelganger of himself. Fans have speculated that this might actually be the DCU Peacemaker fighting the DCU Peacemaker. The trailer for Peacemaker Season 2 showed audiences that Maxwell Lord, Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl will be a part of the story. It is not yet known if this is going to be an extended cameo. These characters are actually going to have some narrative presence. Given that Season 1 saw a brief cameo from two DCU Justice Leaguers in the form of Jason Momoa's Aquaman and Ezra Miller's The Flash, one could assume that the scene that fans saw in the trailer is the only likely appearance of these characters before they are called away to deal with the issues of James Gunn's Superman. Exploring the Snyderverse could see the character interacting with different versions of characters from the DCU, at least the ones that are going to carry over into the new universe. This could create a situation where the DCU's Peacemaker is the one who continues as the Peacemaker of the DCU, while the other one perishes in the conflict. Essentially, the show could be following two separate Peacemakers, and fans might not know which is which because they lead such similar lives until it all comes to a head in the scene that closes out the trailer. The DCU is set to be a bold new step for Warner Brothers after the DCU failed to be any sort of commercial or critical hit. However, it does seem unlikely that the franchise will visit the DCU anytime soon, given how much of issues it was leading up to James Gunn's new and improved take on the franchise. James Gunn's Superman is in grave trouble after facing potential release block in 4 major international markets due to legal issues. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. David Corenswet's Superman looks incredible in all of the promotional material. Fans were initially skeptical about James Gunn's take on one of the oldest classic superheroes. However, Gunn brought the charm back to the character after Zack Snyder's rather dark version of the character. James Gunn's Superman is all set to make a grand worldwide launch on July 11th. However, the fate of the movie in 4 international markets hangs in the balance after Superman creator Joe Shuster's estate seeks an injunction on the film's release. While the estate's January lawsuit on the matter was dismissed in April, they have filed a new lawsuit. It could potentially stop the film from releasing in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. These countries are some of the biggest markets for Superman outside of the United States. This isn't the first time that the estate of Superman's creators has entered into legal battle with Warner Brothers over copyright claims. The copyright laws of countries with a British legal tradition, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia, contain provisions automatically terminating such assignments 25 years after an author's death, vesting in the Shuster estate the co-author's undivided copyright interest in such countries. By operation of law, Shuster's foreign copyrights automatically reverted to his estate in 2017 in most of these territories, and in 2021 in Canada. Yet defendants continue to exploit Superman across these jurisdictions without the Shuster estate's authorization, including in motion pictures, television series, and merchandise, in direct contravention of these countries' copyright laws, which require the consent of all joint copyright owners to do so. The plaintiff, Mark Warren Peary, sought damages and injunctive relief, as well as declaratory relief, establishing the estate's ownership rights in these countries. Mark Tobroff, the attorney for the estate, shared that the copyright reversion occurred only in 2017 and was never actually litigated in court. At the time, a spokesperson for the company shared with Deadline, "We fundamentally disagree with the merits of the lawsuit and will vigorously defend our rights." The lawsuit sought a jury trial, citing that the infringement was willful, intentional, and purposeful. However, the matter didn't go to the jury. However, legal trouble started tailing the film when Joe Shuster's estate first filed a lawsuit against the film in January 2025. The lawsuit had Warner Bros. Discovery and DC Comics as the two defendants. It claimed that the DC studios, under WBD, didn't have the proper rights to release Gunn's film in key territories via deadline. The lawsuit stated that the studio didn't have the rights to release the film in countries like the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. While DC bought Superman's rights from creators Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, the estate claimed that the copyright laws of these countries with the British legal tradition terminate the purchase of rights 25 years after an author's death. Shuster died in July 1992, making the contract allegedly invalid in these countries in 2017. The estate shared in their suit that the use of the character in motion pictures, TV series, and merchandise in these territories violated the automatic foreign copyright reversion law. Key parts of the lawsuit read: Furman also denied the federal injunction on the film that blocked its release in the UK, Canada, Australia, and Ireland. The estate's attorney, Mark Tobroff, argued that the U.S. courts have the authority to enforce overseas copyrights under the Berne Convention. The international treaty ensures that the author's rights are protected across member countries. However, the attorney for Warner Bros. Argued in court that the Berne Convention was not enforceable in federal court. Interestingly, the estate didn't bring copyright suits in the UK or other territories, which wouldn't be feasible. However, Peary has no intention to back down. Shuster's nephew reportedly filed an identical lawsuit in the state court, seeking an injunction on the release of Superman. The Shuster estate's lawsuit unfortunately did not stand in court. According to a ruling in April 2025, U.S. District Judge Jesse Furman held that the federal court had no authority to address the matter. Furman wrote in the ruling, "The court concludes that it lacks subject matter jurisdiction over this case. The case therefore must be and is dismissed." Both parties are set to appear in court on June 4th, where WBD has to explain why the injunction to block the film's release in certain territories shouldn't be granted. Puck also reported that the suit is theoretically jeopardizing the global rollout of David Corenswet's movie. While Gunn intends to kick off the James Gunn's new Superman reboot faces legal hurdles as Superman co-creator's estate files lawsuit threatening its release in multiple countries. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Just as Warner Bros. Discovery was preparing to relaunch the DC Universe with its shiny new Superman reboot, a legal headache came flying in. Mark Peary, nephew of Superman co-creator Joseph Shuster, filed a lawsuit alleging that Warner Bros. No longer has the international rights to the character in several key markets, including the UK, Canada, Ireland, and Australia. The DCU has been a roller coaster at best, with confusing plots and multiple flopped films. Now that it's finally been put to rest, James Gunn is stepping in to clean up the mess and start fresh. And his first big move is a brand new Superman movie meant to kick off a whole new DC universe. But just as things